How are y'all doing today? My name's Aim, and today's topic of discussion is going to be don't let your passion allow you to forego sound advice. Don't let your passion allow you to forego sound advice. When I'm thinking about this topic, I'm thinking about you having a passion to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And I mean, it's a strong passion. You really just believe in it with all your heart. You just really want to push forward. And there's some moments along the way with your path that you get some sound advice. And this sound advice might not necessarily be aligned with what you're thinking, but nonetheless, it's still sound. It may be something that you want to take heed of. Whatever it may be. You don't want to toss that to the wayside, because even though things may be going smooth for you now and you're sailing along in your path, somebody may have just given you a gift to avoid a future problem down the road. I'm thinking about this, and I've referenced a few examples in the videos that I've had up on here, where one particular instance that I'm thinking about, a person talking about doing something, and more often than not, they don't follow through. And it's not that I'm trying to be negative about them as a person or what they're trying to accomplish, but when you observe this or you see this, sometimes, especially depending on who it is and how close they may be to you, sometimes you may offer assistance or something to try to assist them along, because maybe they're just having trouble of quite getting whatever it is they're trying to do off the ground, whether they have like 10 or 15 different ideas. And that's what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about this example that I'm talking about. And you're just like, okay, maybe, or it's not even a maybe in the standpoint of for the example that I'm referring to, you don't see exactly what's wrong with this here. You don't see what's preventing you from succeeding with this here. So let me give you something that may bring down a barrier. And just because you're giving them that something that brings down a barrier, at least this is the way that it was in my example, they saw it as just one more step for something that they had to do. And since it wasn't on their list of things to do, which is fine, it's absolutely fine, it's not on their agenda for things that they would need to do, they saw their counsel as conflicting with their point of view, and it was just, you're trying to be negative to bring me down. It's just like, I'm really thinking in my head, I'm just like, no, there's countless things that you're not doing, and you're just, you're following through. So since you're sharing these things from me, I'm taking it that you do want some sort of input, because you're engaging in the conversation with me, and I've given you your input, and I think that it was constructive, because it wasn't bringing or tearing you down in any way. I just saw a barrier that may hinder you from doing what you're doing, and I'm giving you this information about this barrier so you can remove this barrier so you can proceed on and doing what you were doing. Still not happy. With those individuals, you have people who, and I spoke about this in a few of my videos. I try not to give too much airtime to why people do what they do, because the fact of the matter is, I don't care why they do what they do. We're trying to have you on path to be a healthier you, so you can not only be a healthy you for you, but the others around you. And hopefully, other people, well, it's not hopefully, people will see what's going on with you in your example. But hopefully some of the ones that are having a rough time, is what I should say rather, those ones that are having a rough time, pay attention, and maybe they could pick up some pointers and things to smooth out some of the things that they may be facing in their life. But anyways, back to what I'm talking about with this person and some of the people that you may be encountering. When you run up against some of these ones where you try to do exactly what I did, and it's like they got discouraged, and I think really from the own start, they're discouraging with themselves anyway. But what I was getting ready to say was, you'll notice that with some people, they don't care about doing it right. They don't care about the long haul. They're really just like get rich quick schemes. They're really like, they're not looking for any longevity in it. They may not even be really looking forward to accomplishing whatever it is that they're talking about, because they're just talking. There's plenty of people like that. They're just talking. One of the things too, that is not until I'm making this video that I'm just not thinking about, I think to a degree, especially since there's no follow through on some of the things, it's like they want kudos for the ideas that they come up with. People come up with ideas all the time. People come up with ideas all the time, but the follow through is less than. The follow through on actually accomplishing those ideas are less than. And you got to ask yourself why. That's the reason why I talk on this channel so much about, trying to build yourself up, to motivate yourself to push through on those things. Even if you need to pick a single target and stay focused on that thing. And even when you're on that single target, and sometimes it may get a little boring just pursuing that one thing, or you may just get tired of doing that same thing, and you may want to kind of jump around within that lane of doing that goal. I made a video talking about that. Sometimes I think people feel the need. It was not that I noticed that sometimes people feel the need to just kind of like jump around. They're like, well, I'll do something else here, and then I'll do something else here. And then you end up losing focus and you don't accomplish anything. The objective is for you to accomplish that long-term goal. So when you have that long-term goal out ahead of you, that's the purpose of those short-term goals. These are some of the earlier videos that I talked about when I was talking about how to accomplish those goals. The reason to have those short-term goals is so you can reach some milestones, so you can have a little bit of oomph about yourself, that you've accomplished something, you've done something, so you can go on to the next step and the next step and the next step, and before you know it, you reach that long-term goal. If you've been following on this channel, you'll know that there's certain things in my life where I never want to reach the long-term goal. I want that carrot to consistently keep dangling out before me so I can keep striving to improve further and further upon whatever it is that I'm doing. So back to what I was saying, the topic of this video. Don't let your passion cause you to forego sound advice. Don't let your passion allow you to forego sound advice. Just because you're really in the heat of that moment, and something sounds come on, you get something that is sound that comes into the picture. You might not necessarily really have to entertain it. That's the reason why I talk about keeping a healthy balance with your attitude and dealing with people and or one another. When you have that, okay, thank you. Move on, because you might not really have been able to decide on if that is something you could use, or that has been brought to you, whether it's something that can be used or something that you may need to toss away. But for the fact that it just struck you as, that may very well be sound. You may want to pocket that. You may want to think on that. You may want to keep that. That may help you to build some resilience against something that you come up against down the road. So that's all I'm saying. Like I said, I just wanted to share that with you. Previous videos, I have stated when I'm talking about when you're doing things and you have those blinders on, you got to know the stuff to weed out. You don't want to be weeding out the good stuff too, the things that's helping you along your way. When I'm talking about having those blinders on, when you're dealing with the same old, give you an example. People that's up off in your circle that are 50% of the time. Yeah, they can go this way, or they go that way. I mean, that's what you're having your blinders on about. But I mean, even if they give sound advice, you're like, that may sound like it may have a little bit weight to it. Let me pocket that. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. Let me pocket that. Or depending on how crucial it may sound or whatever you're doing, you may say, wait a minute, hold on. Let me think on this here. Because, I don't want any issues with what I'm trying to do with my goal. Okay, go on. Now, if the person's just crying wolf or just, throwing something out there as a distraction, hey, that's noted too. So it still helps build resilience going on. So you're going to keep focused, but you want to make sure that you're not missing out on the good stuff. That's the topic of this video. In the meantime, if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on my other social media, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. Hit that like button. Click that subscribe so you'll know when I post these videos, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay? look at the link in the description box. That's my book. I Am Kilimanjaro's The Arithmetic of Family Communication. And I have a link to the Amazon where you can get the book in paperback or ebook copy, whichever one you prefer. Read it on your Kindle or have a hard book or a paperback copy so you can write all in it and do whatever you want to do with it. Okay? In the meantime, stay encouraged, avoid being discouraged. I'm Aim. You have a good one.